Mushrooms are widely distributed in the temperate and tropical regions. Some are edible while others are not. Most of the growth of the fungus goes unnoticed because it occurs underground. The chemical components of mushrooms include proteins, vitamins, fats, carbohydrates, amino acids, and minerals. Other mushrooms have medicinal values. Mushrooms could be vital in addressing food security requirements for a number of households because they can grow on their own in the wild but can also be commercially produced.
We are researching about macrofungi. We are more interested in finding out what are the edible saprophytic mushrooms which can be found in this forest.
The Mushroom Project is therefore exploring the various visible options through which local mushrooms can be collected and availed to farmers for sustainable production.
We are running a project with the title Enhancing the Utilization of Vital Saprophytic Mushrooms for Food and Nutritional Security in Uganda. And this is a project which has been funded by the World Bank through the National Agricultural Research Organization, which is an agricultural research institution in Uganda. So in this project, we have the major objectives really to enhance the wild saprophytic mushrooms, their utilization, and we intend to collect the germplasm of those saprophytic mushrooms which have got a potential to be cultivated by households to ensure that they can depend on them without going to the forest and this has to be all season. Because now what we see is that households around forest reserves, they wait for a season to collect mushrooms.
Bulina season. Mugwokusatu, mugwomwenda, mugwekumi. Kasenkuba ebanga etonyedde emabegako eno nebinywa nebikuta. Abuba bujja bulungi.
Bukola ng'enva ate abalala basobola okubutwalako ne Kampala ng'enva butundayo.
Pick them, mostly the younger ones. We don't eat these mature ones. We eat the younger ones. These are hard to cook, so we eat mostly the younger ones. For these ones here, all these are mature. We can't eat these ones. When we want to find these, we normally go to the forest. Normally in August, that's when they start, when it is a rain season. And this piece of log has a number of them. There are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 of them are younger ones, and one is the mature one. So these 4 ones are the ones we can pick and take for home use.
You know that mushrooms are seasonal. They are seasonal, and they can only happen once. They can only be found in the forest once a year. So the timing of the rains and when to collect these mushrooms can be a challenge. That you may find, you might go there when you find that the local people have already collected all what was there. Or you have delayed for 2 days and you find that the mushrooms have overgrown and they have started rotting. So that means that you have to wait another season to be able to go and collect another batch of samples. But also remember that this is our first time of trying to do this in this country. Therefore, we are not yet sure of which media is suitable or is optimal for the type of mushrooms you are dealing with.
In Uganda, wild edible mushrooms remain the most underexploited biological group and possibly the group with the largest store of potential uses and applications for sustainable development. The underexploitation could probably be due to lack of knowledge on the potential uses and enormous benefits that can be realized from mushrooms.
So we intend to get these mushrooms out of the forest, try to get that seed and cultivate it on the available waste materials from people's gardens, for example, banana fibers, banana leaves, dry banana leaves, and cotton husks. so that people can have a year-around supply of mushrooms rather than waiting for the rainy season when they are supposed to be grown in the forest.
In this project, germplasm of 5 indigenous edible saprophytic mushrooms was collected and cultivation trials carried out.
From these mushrooms, we have done some tests within the lab and we have been able to get the seeds. And so these ones that we are working to ensure that we get what you can take back, what you can take to the farmers so that they can be able to grow it throughout the year.
This project on mushrooms in March this year, 2017, and we were involved in sample collection of these mushrooms. They are wild mushrooms from the forest. We went to Mpanga forest and we collected 3 types of mushrooms. So these mushrooms, after collecting them, we had to come to the lab and try to domesticate them because they are not currently on market right now. Common mushrooms include oyster in Uganda, but these ones that we collected include the auricularia. It's commonly called the ear mushroom, and others have local names that we are yet to establish. The scientific names we are yet to establish. One is Mutundugo, which the local people called Mutundugo white, and the other was Mutundugo red. When we bring these mushrooms to the lab, we have to get either spore from them or multiply the mycelia on good media. So we grew these mushrooms on PDA, also on YPGA, and that's media for fungi, and we got some mycelia from our samples. And so after getting the pure cultures like this of the fungus or the mushroom we want, we grow them on natural substrate like millet or sorghum, and we get spawn. Now this spawn is mycelia. It's a lot of mycelia growing, but when you provide this mycelia with good substrate and weather or good and a good environment for it to grow, this is what grows into the mushroom. So from this stage, after transferring this mycelia to a substrate to grow, we transfer this to gardens.
This mushroom is growing on both dead roots and also what appears to be a live root. So we aren't certain whether it is parasitic or it is just saprophytic, because somewhere you find that it is growing on organic matter, which is the leaves which are rotting, but and at times you find that it is going down in the soils. So it may be, for example, look at this one. You see, yeah, it has soil below. So we are not really certain whether it is saprophytic or it is in associations with some other organism in the soil here. So that's the challenge we have with this mushroom. And it's also reported that this mushroom is not edible. Perhaps people have not taken keen interest in eating it and testing whether it's edible. But it could also be that this mushroom is medicinal. So it is upon us to research and find out the use, what this mushroom can be put to use by humans. In this forest we find that there are primates, but we have not yet observed where primates have eaten or any signs of eating by primates on these mushrooms.
Globally, there is a rapidly growing interest in mushroom products as a source of high-value dietary supplement which have great potential for therapeutic applications. It is increasingly being realized that many mushroom species are very effective in boosting the body's immune systems, which is of crucial importance in Uganda given the magnitude of the HIV and AIDS pandemic and cancer prevalence within the population.
We want to know, can mushrooms contribute to food security? Yes. Food security is not just about the volumes of food we eat, but the nutritive value of the food we take. Remember, mushrooms have got high mineral content. They also have amino acids. They have other essential nutrients for human beings. But also, remember that some of the mushrooms have got some medicinal value. So you are addressing food security at the same time you are addressing what? Health issue. Because if some people need mushrooms to consider to work on some ailments, then they will have it.
Mushroom cultivation is one of the most significant strategy in terms of producing a high-value food and medicinal product from the abundant agricultural waste found countrywide by solid waste fermentation.
Science tetumulira abumeze wali amulina wo.
Tetusimba butiko. Kubanga obusobozi obusimba obutiko. Tetubuyina ne buno bwe tukuula eno mu kibira. Bumerera ku maanyi ga Katonda. Obutiko tubwagala nnyo. Naye okusinziira ku mbeera yaffe gye tukyaliko. Tetulina abasobola kugenda kunoonyereza. Abaali badde basobola okugenda okunoonyereza tebalina busobozi. Kati ne tulemera mu kitundu.
We are seeing presently how mushroom farmers in Uganda and East African region, they are depending on imported mushroom seed. Mushrooms which have been cultured in Europe, now they're being brought to these countries. And now we have here, within our environments, within our countries, within our forests, we have indigenous mushrooms, which are edible. So it is these ones we want to focus on and add them on to what we already have in cultivation. Because some people would prefer the indigenous mushrooms because of their taste and because they're used to them. Okay? So it is also important that we do this to add on the variety we already have, so that we have a variety of mushrooms. But also remember that it is our obligation to conserve biodiversity. So by getting this germplasm of these mushrooms and having them grown by farmers, we shall continue keeping them within our society. Even if the forests get depleted, we shall have captured these ones and can be grown and can be kept with us.
They construct such structures, well enclosed and well aerated, and they make these gardens, and many are making money out of this mushroom farm.
Mushroom growing does not require farmers to have large pieces of land for the activity, and this guarantees that many farmers can get involved. Relying on natural forests to meet the demand for mushrooms is not only disappointing but also risky.
Mpozi okuyingirako mu kibira muno mulimu emisota ekyali badde ekizibu kati ng'oyo kamyu mwali atwokya n'ekibuga naye tugenda naye mulimu n'obugwa bukawule nabwo bututakula.
The research has also generated information on nutritional and medicinal values of local mushrooms, the information that was not widely available.
Mushrooms are important. First of all, they are nutritious. They can provide us with essential nutrients, amino acids, proteins, and fibers. These are required into human beings' diet. Mushrooms have got a medicinal potential. They can work on cancer patients whose immunity has been reduced. So they can boost cancer patients' immunity.
Mushroom growing can coexist with other agricultural activities such as poultry and piggery, enabling farmers to maximize profits and cutting production costs.
So that waste which has been used to grow mushrooms can be fed to our animals, and they will be of better nutritive value, easily digestible and utilizable by our animals. So what you have what you have used in the mushroom growing goes into, for example, fed on chick, can be fed on pigs, can be fed on cattle, and that increases the food value for our livestock, and that improves the productivity of our livestock sector.
The project has faced quite a number of challenges.
There will always be challenges, which challenges can be taken as opportunities. You know that mushrooms are seasonal. They are seasonal, and they can only happen once. They can only be found in the forest once a year. So the timing of the rains and when to collect these mushrooms can be a challenge that you may find. You might go there when you find that the local people have already collected all what was there. Or you have delayed for 2 days and you find that the mushrooms have overgrown and they have started rotting. So that means that you have to wait another season to be able to go and collect another batch of samples.
The challenges here include contamination of the samples with bacteria and other fungi which are not of our interest. And the colony would look like this, having a mixture of different fungi. But to overcome that, we sterilize our samples before initiating them, and it's some protocol that I may not explain very well here, but we sterilize and work in sterile environment. This is a laminar flow hood, which enables us to work in a sterile environment.
With many mushroom farmers depending on imported planting materials, it was vital that local solutions are availed.
What people have to know that mushroom growing is economically viable. It doesn't need a lot of land. Can be done in our home, our backyards, and it can contribute to income generation among the poor households.